You're listening to Puma Podcast.
Before we begin this episode, a warning. What you're about to listen to contains graphic descriptions of death and violence related to the drug war. On June 30, 2016, Rodrigo Roa Duterte was proclaimed President of the Philippines. True to his campaign promise, he unleashed a war, his war, on illegal drugs across the country. It left thousands of alleged drug users and peddlers dead. Activists say tens of thousands were killed, not all of whom necessarily had anything to do with the crime Duterte said he wanted to fight. Many, mostly from poor villages, were caught in the crossfire, including children and teenagers. Night after night, media workers covered the bloodshed, keeping a record of one of the bloodiest terms in modern Philippine history. The Duterte years produced some of the most troubling and most powerful images. In this special miniseries of Teka Teka, we talk about some of these images, pictures that mattered and that tried to make a difference. The stories behind the images splashed on our screens and newspapers, the kind of mark they left on these journalists, and how they are still trying to make sense of what happened 10 years on.
I'm Alecs Ongcal. I've been a photojournalist since 2014, so that's almost like 10 years, a little bit more now. So, do editorial, anything from sports to lifestyle to hard news, anything, we would cover it. So, I've had photographs published both international and local, wires, tapos dito din. It was part of just supposedly a normal day. At that time, I was still in school. So usually the last class that I would have would end at around 6 p.m. So ito was around 8, 9, parang ganon. I was just having dinner sa isang fast food restaurant. Habang kumakain, may nakita na lang akong medyo kaguluhan dun sa kanto. And surprisingly, may parang salvage victim dun. Kaya sabi ko, wow, di pa nagsisimula yung gabi, meron na kaagad. So, ganun na talaga siya ka-normal within our neighborhood na kahit I wasn't even working pa. I didn't know na it will be the start of a really long night because in that night, we had around 8 bodies that ended. So our whole round kind of ended at around 5, 6 a.m. na. And all of these were salvage victims. He naka-tied up in duct tape, either with zip ties or duct tape and cardboard. If I remember it correctly, he's like the third. And each body were just dropped about 2 to 5 kilometers away from each other. So it was just within Pasay and Makati City, within that boundary. This photograph specifically stuck with me all through this time, especially at that time. Kasi parang, ito yung, it's a victim na sobrang vandalized yung pagka-tape sa kanya. This guy is duct taped lang with his hands crossed in front of him. Um, and he has a plastic bag on his head, so he's probably strangled. And with duct tape around the plastic bag. So parang alam mong there's plastic and it's taped around. And he was drawn with eyes, with eyelashes and eyebrows and a nose and mustache and a mouth with teeth. So they took their time. They enjoyed it. It's 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 the creepy things. It's these details that really creep me out. Hindi ko alam kung magagalit ako or magugulat. I don't know. It was a mix of emotions, especially where I couldn't really pinpoint if I was angry or scared or just confused because it kind of shows more about the people who did it than the victim. It kind of shows the lack of the dehumanization of what is happening during that time. It is scary how, oh wow, this isn't just about vigilantes or trying to clean supposedly society from drugs. These people are enjoying killing na. It's one thing to kill someone, it's one thing to tape them and brand them as drug addicts and as people who do evil things, but it's one thing to vandalize someone and make fun of them, because drawing a smiley face like that, it's just over a dead body. That's parang you're that comfortable doing these violence na. And it kind of shows more about the society that is being cultivated, the environment that is being encouraged here. Na parang these are the questions that would go in my mind na if um people are licensed to do violence, how far can we go? And this is just the beginning. So, and if people are getting some enjoyment from this, and it's not just about, no, I have to do the right thing, because if you're doing supposedly something that is just, you don't have to mock people with it, you don't have to mock your victims, right? But then this is kind of just a game na parang, wow, pinaglalaroan na lang talaga nila to. So that kind of, yun na yung naging ano sa akin, parang it's like a really dark shadow or cloud like looming over me na parang, wow, this is something else. And this is more like a game for them na, and it just really questions the humanity that we have left, or the kind of society that we are encouraging to have, or licensing to have. And then you question about what will happen, or how far can we go if violence is permitted, especially by someone, diba? Yung pinakakataas sa bansa, and would encourage these things. I don't know, like at that time, that's just the start, and where do we draw the line, and how far can we go? And that was just, it was a scary thing to ask. And grabe, one of the first few operations that we've been to, parang dun na talaga nagdawn na, wow, this is something really heavy, and this is something very serious. We already knew that this is something so dark, and it will last a while. Dire-diretso na lang kami because it's part of our job. Yun yung assignment namin, and a part of me still wants to see where this is going, up until na-burnout na rin ako. It did take a toll, especially at that time. Buti na lang na I was filled with scholars of psychology. So medyo nade-debrief ako along the way because I am a student of psychology. So kahit papaano, I think because my professors knew what I was doing. I think they knew kung paano ko alalayan. They knew how to talk to me about it, and they'd ask me. So there were times that kahit papaano, we didn't talk a lot, but then nagiging uh, I'd account it as part of the briefing, because we never I didn't really go through like proper therapy from that. Still remember the story, still remember those nights. Hindi siya mawala. They're eerie, they're cold, they're dark, and they're heavy. Then there are these moments where you can see na as like a small glimpse of justice, where you can see um the moment na binabasahan na si Duterte all of his crimes. Thank God. You have international eyes talking about and having voices for the people who are victims, the families who are bereaved, and hearing their voices on screen 10 years later. Those small wins. So there's highs and lows, but it's still continuous fight. So dire-diretso pa rin. We're there to make sure no one can ever say that it never happened. So I am glad that we were able to do that, that everyone who was present was able to contribute something to that, was able to document those things. So sometime in the future, especially now where it matters, we have all of these receipts that we can go back to. And there are so many nameless, faceless people who are victims of this. Not just those people who have lost their lives, but then all the families and all of the communities that were affected by it. Has a direct ano ba, ripple effect from all of that. But somehow hindi naman closure, but then there's there's a way for resolution, or there's a way that this can be um recorded and be processed and have meaning into it. Yes, this happened within just a year or two, but then the fight and how this will be remembered will last even our lifetimes. So I think that's the most important part of it. So hopefully we can study it. We can use this so that we won't repeat this this history again.
You've been listening to Pictures That Matter, a special mini-series on Teka Teka. I am Josette Enano, the producer of this episode, and our video editor is Cez Leslie Salada. We are taking time to mark the 10th anniversary of the war on drugs. Not so much to look back, but to acknowledge the continuing efforts to pursue justice and accountability for the thousands of Filipinos killed. For stories that matter, subscribe to Teka Teka on Spotify or the Puma Podcast channel on YouTube. Maraming salamat po.